Hello everyone, I'm Mara Benitez, Library Assistant at the Seguin Public Library. This is the third video in our beginner sewing series, and today I will be showing you how to make an origami bento bag. Before we get started, you will need a piece of fabric that is 3 times as wide as it is long. For this example, I will be using a piece that is 42 inches by 14 inches. Also, if you want to include a handle, instead of leaving the ties on the bag free, you will need a separate 8 by 8 inch square of fabric. You will also be needing a hand sewing needle, thread in a coordinating color, and some pins. An iron is helpful but not required. Prepare your fabric for hemming by cutting off 1 inch from each of the corners of both pieces of fabric. This removes excess bulk when we fold our hems. Next, you'll want to double fold your edges 1/2 inch and either pin or press them into place with your iron to prepare your hems for sewing. Now, use your desired stitch to hem around all of the edges of both pieces of fabric. In this example, I will be using the basic running stitch. However, since this project has so many straight seams, it is an excellent opportunity to practice your other hemming stitches. Whatever stitch you use, I recommend using a small, tight whip stitch to close up the edges of all of your corners. This will help make the bag more durable. Here's a quick tip to help keep your sewing tidy. After you've knotted your thread, before you cut it, run the needle through the inside of the hem a little ways down, coming out in the middle of the hem. Trim the thread close to the fabric. As you use and wash your bag, the end will stay secure and hidden inside the layers of fabric. Next, take your long piece of fabric and lay it out flat. Fold the top right corner down and line it up with the bottom edge of your rectangle, creating a triangle. Then, take the bottom left corner and line it up with the top edge, making another triangle. Now take the right corner and pull it up diagonally so that the bottom edge of the rectangle lines up with the edge of the triangle on the left side. It should look like this. Now we'll need to sew up along both the front and back edges as shown here. Pin along these seams to keep your material from shifting as you sew. We'll be using an invisible stitch or ladder stitch to sew up these sides. To start, we'll hide our knot by poking the needle up through the hem in the corner of our bag. To create the invisible stitch, we will pick up a small section of fabric from the very edge of either hem along the seam and continue along the alternating sides. The closer you make these stitches, the more secure your seam will be. Once you pull it tight, the seam becomes invisible. Once you've sewn both sides, we can create our boxed corners. Turn the bag inside out and lay one of the corners flat with the seam running to one side of the corner. Sew across the corner a few inches down. The more corner you sew, the larger the boxed area will be. Just make sure that both corners match. Turn the bag right side out again. Now you can either leave the bag as is, tying the free ends in the traditional bento style, or you can sew them together and attach a handle. Begin by sewing the top corners together in the middle securely. It doesn't have to be pretty since it'll be covered by a handle. Just make sure that it is very secure by passing through the layers several times. Fold your handle square over the middle and use an invisible stitch to sew the edges together. If you like, you can also use a few stitches on either side of the handle to help keep it in place. And you are all done! Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to our YouTube channel or keep an eye out on our social media for more activities and crafting tips, tricks, and techniques.